Parking in downtown Hazleton has become somewhat of a hot topic with residents. Today, WILN spoke with Hazelton Mayor Joe Yanuzzi and got the answers to several of those questions, and it's our top story tonight. Good evening. This is WILN's late edition, Greater Hazelton's only local news broadcast for Wednesday, May 28th, 2014. I'm Ann Gownley. Hazelton City Council met last night and unanimously voted to table discussions on the Hazelton parking garage until more information is given by the city's administration. Today we spoke with Hazelton Mayor Joe Yanuzzi to discuss the garage and what residents can expect when DBI moves its headquarters and employees to downtown Hazelton. The Hazelton parking garage, located on Mine Street, has approximately 250 parking spaces. Many residents of the city and residents of the surrounding communities park in the garage during business hours. At last night's city council meeting, a resolution to lease the Mine Street parking garage was before council. With several questions from council and the public, council decided to table the resolution until those questions could be answered. Over 120 spots will be needed for employees of DBI when it moves its world headquarters to downtown Hazelton. DBI will be leasing the entire garage and taking care of all maintenance. DBI has also informed the city that they will honor the parking passes already owned by several residents. Hazelton Mayor Joe Yanuzzi says residents should not be concerned with losing their parking permits that have already been issued by the city.
With the Angelo moving downtown, one of the most important things they were concerned about was parking. We are going to remodel the garage and lease the whole garage to them, and this way their 140 employees and tenants of DeMarco and traders will be able to park somewhere. The remainder of the garage, the other 75, will be to people who have parking permits and want to park daily.
Yanuzzi says this is a good deal for the city. Remodeling will also be done at no cost to the taxpayers. The money to remodel will come from a recent gaming money grant that the city acquired.
Remodeling that we're doing, we're putting a tower up and a new elevator. We're putting brand new steps in it. And then we're going to patch all the concrete. The structure of the garage is in good shape. That's been looked at, but the coating that covers them, the concrete, is chipping off. We have to redo that. If we find any rust spots, we'll polish up the metal and repaint that. But all in all, it's going to be a complete remodeling job for $1,600,000.
The remaining funds from the grant will go towards building a new parking garage at the corner of Laurel and Broad Streets with 100 parking spaces. Bids will go out within the next 2 weeks, and construction is expected to begin in July. With the additional parking, Yanuzzi says there is lots of parking in the downtown.
Adding the street parking, there's 400 meters. So there's 215 in the garage, 250 on surface, and 400 parking meters. So that's a total of 830 parking spaces we have downtown, without counting private parking. There's the Hayden parking lot, there's the Carmen's parking lot, Hazel Drug has a private parking lot. So there's plenty of parking going to be, but as much as we have, it's still tight.
Yanuzzi tells us that the bids for the future parking garage at Laurel and Broad Streets will be sent out next month, and construction is expected to begin in August. DBI does not plan to move to the downtown until November or December of 2014. Contract talks have begun with the Luzerne, Wyoming Mental Health and Development Services and Avenues in Pottsville and Mahanoy City. The Pottsville-based group may begin providing job training and leisure time activities for Hazelton clients of United Rehabilitation Services. URS is closing on June 18th, and nearly 300 adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities relied on URS for jobs and job training. Like URS, Avenues provides similar services for more than 1,000 people. Avenues also operates thrift stores, gift shops, and a nursery, while providing training programs in Pottsville, Mahanoy City, and Sunbury. The Luzerne, Wyoming agency is seeking one contract that will cover July 1st to December 31st and an additional contract for all of 2015. As the Broad Street Corridor project paving continues through West Hazelton and Hazelton, many residents are concerned with how the work is turning out. WYLN's Julie Stefanovich has the story.
Today we stopped by Broad Street near 15th Street, where PennDOT crews began ripping the street back open and working on pipes underground. At least 4 neighbors that live in the area said that they would not go on camera but have plenty of questions as to why they were digging up the road. They also tell us that the new sidewalks that were put in as part of the Broad Street Corridor project are beginning to crack. We spoke with PennDOT construction manager Pat Frisky.
Unfortunately, the rumors that people have been hearing are true. Yes, we are cutting into the new roadway surface in the West Hazelton area, and that's one of the things of nature, that if there is a service leak, a service break, and in this case it was a sewer line collapse that has to be addressed. And unfortunately, whether it's new pavement or old pavement, you have to address that situation.
The project has to be reviewed with officials from West Hazelton and Hazelton and decide who is responsible for the repairs to the sidewalks. Frisky also stated that a lot of the cracks came from excessive traffic. She also explains how the rest of the project is going along.
The paving and the final pavement markings and the final adjustments on the signals are moving along well as planned. We're getting ready to wrap up what we started in West Hazelton. That should be wrapped up in the next week or so. We'll move on to where Wilson Street, the hospital, moving its way down towards the railroad tracks there, Cedar and Poplar. And all we have is our last downtown piece, which will be nighttime operations, again, to try to minimize the conflict with pedestrians, business owners, parking situations, and things like that.
If everything goes as planned, the project should reach completion by the 4th of July. In Hazelton, for WYLN's Late Edition, I'm Julie Stefanovich.
Working to cut the deficit for the 2014-15 school year. That is the goal of the Hazelton Area School District Budget Committee. Our Gary Perna was at the meeting tonight and has the story.
Questions over staffing the new Maple Manor and Hazel Township Early Learning Center were the major discussions at tonight's budget meeting for the Hazelton Area School Board. With the addition of the 2 new schools, administrators are moving some staff around to fill the new buildings.
Of our budget right now, we're looking at bringing on the 2 new buildings, Maple Manor and the former Hazel 9th grade center now will be Hazel Township Early Learning Center for K to 2nd grade. Actually, pre-K will also be in there. So we're looking at shifting our teacher and staff around, trying to reduce class size across the district. We're looking to go with from K to 2 with 25 kids in a class or less, and then from 3 to 8 with 27 or less kids in a class.
Business manager Tony Reba said with the redistricting, they will not need to hire many new teachers to fill the buildings.
Yes, we're trying to reset our boundaries. Boundary exception kids are going back to the schools that they were residents of. So again, we're doing a couple things here in one sweep with bringing these buildings on. Also, as you know, there's trailers at several of our K-8 buildings. We're going to take the kids out of these trailers and the teachers and redistribute them in the buildings.
Reba said so far expenditures stand at about $133 million, revenue at about $127 million, which means there's about a $6 million deficit. But the budget is not complete, and the district has a lot more to cut.
Right now, we're trying to trim it down. We were well up over $10 million deficit. I think we're in the ballpark of somewhere around 7 at this point. Again, every week we're trying to make some cuts, going through various department budgets and come up with cuts.
According to the business manager, they have to pass their budget before they know what the state is giving them in funding.
It did include some of the increase for the state budget. We were told initially in the governor's proposal there was going to be a new program called Passport to Learning. We were actually going to get about $1.8 million in that money. We did not have that on our budget at this point. Again, we don't know at what point they're at as far as our allocation from the state.
The budget has to be passed by the end of June.
Again, we have to approve our budget by the end of June. Our budget adoption meeting is June 26th. But we do schedule typically in May and June weekly budget meetings. Most of them are on Wednesdays. I believe we had to switch one to a Thursday, but we are meeting weekly.
The next budget meeting will be June 4th at 6 p.m. Reporting for WYLN's Late Edition, I'm Gary Perna.
In other news today, 5 bricks of suspected heroin was found inside the bedroom of an apartment in Hazelton after a drug investigation. The Luzerne County Drug Task Force had been watching 23-year-old Darnell Jimenez as he sold heroin in Hazelton in May. On 2 separate occasions, the task force said Jimenez sold 250 packs of heroin. A search warrant was executed last Thursday at 818 West 1st Street by the task force with the help of the Hazelton Police Department's Special Operations Group. Inside Jimenez's 3rd floor apartment, police found him and 28-year-old Joe Vargas of Hazelton in a bedroom. Vargas admitted to police that he delivered the heroin to the apartment before the search was executed. In addition to the 5 bricks of heroin, Vargas was found with 150 packets on his person tucked in his underwear. Jimenez was charged with 3 counts of manufacture, delivery, or possession and related counts. He was arraigned at District Judge Martin Keynes, who set bail at $100,000. Vargas was charged with manufacture, delivery, and related charges. His bail was set at $20,000. Both men are behind bars tonight at the Luzerne County Prison. 2 men have been arrested in connection with a gas station robbery in Dorrance Township. 29-year-old Dennis Cosgrove of Hazelton and 22-year-old Daniel Cluck of Freeland allegedly robbed the Sunoco gas station on Blue Ridge Trail late Friday night. State police in Hazelton say that Cosgrove entered the store around 11 p.m. with a bandana covering his face, pulled out a pistol, and pointed it at the clerk and demanded money. Cosgrove made out with $230. Police say Cluck waited outside as the getaway driver. Cosgrove was identified by surveillance footage in the store. Both men were arrested on Sunday after admitting to the robbery. Cluck told police that he gave Cosgrove the gun to use in that robbery. Cosgrove is charged with robbery, conspiracy to commit robbery, theft, simple assault, and a firearm carried by person not to possess. Cluck was charged with robbery, conspiracy to commit robbery, and related charges. Both men are behind bars at the Luzerne County Prison. Hazelton police are investigating a theft from a local convenience store. Police say an employee of the Pantry Quick on East Diamond Avenue called them after a Hispanic female stole a Verizon flip phone that belonged to her. The incident occurred just after 10:30 Tuesday night. The female fled the store in an Acura SUV. Anyone with information on this incident is asked to call Hazelton police at 570-459-4940. A Luzerne County prison inmate has been charged with possessing a homemade weapon. 31-year-old David Andrew Hines argued with another inmate inside a cell block on May 19th. As Hines approached the inmate, correctional officers stepped in to stop the confrontation. Hines ran into his cell and admitted to flushing a bolt which was made from a crutch handle and sharpened to the point down the toilet. He was charged with possession of a weapon and tampering with evidence. He was arraigned by Judge Martin Kane and remanded to the prison for lack of $30,000 bail. Hines was already at the prison for lack of $60,000 bail on separate drug offenses filed by Kingston Police in September. The Hazelton man who was inside a car that was struck by a Nesquehoning police officer on Route 209 between Nesquehoning and Jim Thorpe is continuing to recover. The crash claimed the life of Carola Sowers on May 12th. Her husband, Michael Sowers, is currently in a Bethlehem hospital. His second-grade students at Pleasant Valley Elementary School, along with family and friends, continue to send him cards wishing him well. The state police are continuing to investigate that crash. The district attorney's office of Carbon County has yet to receive a report. Those who wish to write to Sowers can send cards and letters to St. Luke's University Hospital, room 468, 801 Ostrom Street, Bethlehem, PA 18015.